deer hunting, and of course, hopefully they'll get
only
one.
Problem is, only problem there's no deer out there to shoot. I've never seen a deer.
Oh, really? You don't ever see deer?
I'm just kidding. I can kill about 30 a day on 98
Yeah.
at the beach.
And you know what bothers me is they you know, in the what they do is it's like they're feeding them. You know, the green grass is on the inside of the road, and it says, "Come on over and eat some of this good grass, and in the meantime, get killed by an automobile."
They're like pets at my house. I mean, it's just. I think there's about 25 that make the track across Murphy Street over to our house and the Webb's house, and you know, you got mama deer, a lot of baby deer. Sometimes you'll see 8 together. Sometimes it's 3 or 4, and they come in our backyard and get about 10 feet from me, and then they just lay down and take a little rest and look at me, and I talk to them.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, it is the second. I call it the second holiday for you folks out there that's sleeping in this morning. But I wanted to throw out a couple of things. You know, you can beg and choose whatever you want to, but eventually it comes to the top when Sweetwater meets Brantley in football this weekend. We've been talking about Sweetwater all year long because of their great tradition, and now they're going to get what they wish for, or you might get what you wish for in the Brantley Sweetwater, both of them 12-0.
Yeah, that'll be a showdown, maybe.
But isn't it great to know the best two are going at it? You know.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to work. So, but we know who we're pulling for.
Don't look now, but Troy University finally has their best basketball team under Coach Cross. They won in overtime, 83-78 last night. They won the Paradise Classic. They're now 4-2 on the year. The only losses are to Butler on the road, a very tough Butler team in the Big East, and then they lost the first game of the tournament to North Dakota by 2.
Yeah, you know, North Dakota's got a pretty good reputation for basketball, don't they?
But Coach Cross, they play Florida on Sunday, which will be on the SEC Network if anybody wants to watch it. But I was looking at their schedule. I think they've got 7 games left before they start conference play. They've got a realistic chance of maybe 9-4 before conference play starts.
Well, I tell you, I felt like when I watched them, Rice and I went and saw them play in that triple
overtime.
Well, you weren't there for that.
Yeah, I was. Triple overtime against Jacksonville State, whooped Jack State.
And we really had a good time at that game, and of course it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this winter.
I could tell. Here's what I liked. They played hard, and they've got some players that seem to have competitive spirit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Especially their little 5'8" point guard.
That's right.
He don't want to lose.
Mike, he might be the best point guard we've seen in a long time at Troy.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to jinx him, but yeah, I would go along with that statement too.
Kind of reminds me of Golden out of Memphis that we had under Macy that was so good.
Good memory there. I remember doing a big story on him when Coach Maestri got him. Very similar.
Of course, we got
He got fouled last night, made 3 free throws in a row, and the star of the game though late was Duke Miles, the great guard out of Robert E. Lee High School, who was phenomenal as a freshman last year. He's back now, and he scored 16 points last night as well.
Where has he been, Mike? He hasn't even been dressed.
Playing, yeah.
What?
He's been injured, I guess. I assume. I don't know what else it could have been.
Well, I tell you what.
So a good team should get even better.
2 phenomenal quick guards now.
Yeah. Well, and another. I tell you, it's just amazing that the people he's been able to put together in such a short time.
Well, let's look at the 2 losses were at a neutral site to North Dakota by 2 points. And I heard our athletic director on the radio say that we missed a lot of free throws in that game or we would have won it. And then we lost to Butler, which we were tied or in the ball game at halftime.
That's right.
So
and also
get behind this Trojan team, everybody.
And another team we got to get behind is this Trojan team that travels to Atlanta this weekend to play Georgia State. If they win, they go to a bowl game. I pretty much have heard that they have got a lock in if they can win this last game.
Well, let's win it then.
Wouldn't that be something? And of course, we're the headlines of the day's advertiser is talking about Troy's situation, and hey, when you start mentioning people like Major Applewhite, right?
Yeah.
And people like that, Major Applewhite.
That's not a name I want to hear.
I know, but Major Applewhite played quarterback at Texas, didn't he?
Yep.
And
he was head coach at Houston as well.
Yeah.
We'll hear a lot of. It'll be fun. We might as well talk about all the names.
You're gonna hear Derek Ansley. That's a name that'll be very popular among former players, alumni. Great player. You'll hear names like who's the guy that was the Baylor defense coordinator, Roberts.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about him.
He used to be the head coach of Delta State.
Oh, okay.
And then was the head coach of Southeast Louisiana. That's a name you'll hear a lot of. So it's going to be interesting to see. And then you'll have coaches like Jeremy Pruitt. That name will probably come out if he wants to get back in college ball. All the Alabama fans want Pete Gold in the league, so maybe Pete Gold would like the Troy job.
What about people like Rich Rod and?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't want to retread. I really don't. Matt Moore, offensive coordinator, offensive line coach at West Virginia is a name. He's very popular family in Troy. A guy that can really coach offensive line, and Troy's offensive line is really bad the last 3 years. That's something that's got to get a lot better.
Well,
also Jordan Leslie, defense coordinator at West Virginia.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I mean, real fiery player, hard nosed. He'd be a guy that I would look at.
Well, he's an assistant coach right now at West Virginia. I've watched his career as a player and as a coach, and he's been there pretty good about. He's been in with a lot of good staffs. I say that. And he's with Coach Brown now.
Ooh, I just hope they make the right decision.
But Mike, the name that you haven't even thrown out is the linebacker coach at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right? Hello.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with somebody that's never been a coordinator, though.
Yeah, he's never been a coordinator.
He's never been a coordinator at any stop in his career, and I feel like you got to at least be a coordinator.
What's his name?
John Summerall.
John Summerall. I've heard that name many times, and of course, former Troy assistant under Coach Brown, and I know they think highly of him.
We've only had Troy, I think, maybe a year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, I've always said he sure is pretty. Now, there's no question. Out of all of them, he's prettier than all of them.
You think Gene Chizik would be interested?
I don't know, but I like Gene Chizik. I tell you, I've spent about 2 hours with him one afternoon. Talking ball, and he's a great guy, no question about it.
I always wonder about the great high school coaches. With Josh Niblett finally want to try to make the move, but he want to be a head coach in college.
Yeah.
And anybody, he used to be the offense coordinator at Georgia Tech, offense coordinator at Miami. His son's one of the top prospects of Central Phoenix City. Bo Nix maybe would transfer out to Auburn to come play for him. I mean, Patrick Nix is a name to look at.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. I like thinking outside the box.
We've had a lot to do with getting Auburn people, and of course, we got a great one in Larry Blakeney when he decided to come to Troy for 20, and he stayed 25 years. Mm-hmm. And boy, what a guy, Mike. We don't probably respect him enough. The kind of person he was as a coach at Troy. He had as many friends in the coaching world as anybody I know. And Larry Blakeney will go down in history as one of the all-time great coaches.
Well, he was such a good fit for the community and the time. And then we got a couple years before him, we got Coach Maestri, who came from Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. And sure did.
Then we got a guy named Chase Riddle, who came from Major League Baseball scouting.
Yes, sir. And he was
So
a great one.
Troy's never hired a coach for previous head coaching experience except Bradshaw. Bradshaw had it, but then Chan Gailey, assistant coach, Rick Rhodes, assistant coach, Larry Blakeney, Robert Maddox, assistant coach, Larry Blakeney, assistant coach, Neil Brown was the assistant coach, and then Chip Lindsey was the assistant coach.
All right, here are these names here.
Rick Rhodes, assistant coach.
Yeah, very good coach. And I tell you what,
Won a national championship.
I tell you what would be great is whoever would have the guts to hire Mike Turk.
Yeah.
Mike Turk might be the best coach out there.
You know, the last time when we hired Chip, I was thinking, was Mike seriously considered?
I don't know, but I know this. He ought to be considered because he's an outstanding coach. He was a great player, outstanding coach, head coach at Huntington. He knows how to coach football. It wouldn't bother me one iota if he was the next football coach at Troy.
Well, he's mature and smart and well liked. I think that would be a popular hire.
Mike,
He would get the band back together. He'd have Steve Campbell as his offense coordinator. He'd have Craig Stewart as defense coordinator. He'd have Kenny Edenfield as his offense coordinator.
Yeah, that's
it'd be
right.
like a reunion Troy.
And I guarantee you they could coach too. There's no question about it. It would take somebody with courage, but let me tell you, he would be an outstanding coach. Larry Fedora, Mike, you remember him? Former Southern Miss and University of North Carolina coach. Mark Husbeth, who was
that's a name that if he didn't have the off the field issues would be a slam dunk hire. He won 9 games 4 straight years at Louisiana Lafayette, and he had great teams at UNA.
He won several national championships at UNA. Jordan Leslie, of course, from West Virginia. I don't know if he's ready for a head coaching job, but he will be in the future. Doug Maroon.
He's been pretty good defense coordinator the last couple of years. That's Conan left.
Yeah, that's right. And Doug Marrone, Alabama offensive line coach, former NFL coach, would be
don't want him.
Not based on Alabama's offensive line this year.
Chad Scott, who's at West Virginia now, and he was at Kentucky with them.
What about Coach Hall, the defensive coordinator? Has he mentioned this interim coach?
I don't know. I don't. I'm not going to make.
I mean, Brandon Hall's done a great job. He's up to the Paroles Award. I mean, he leads Troy to victory and wins the bowl game. I guess you never know.
Well. That never entered my mind. Let's say that.
Well, that's why we got 3 people here.
All right. How about the guy at West Florida, Mike, that took him to the Pete Shinnick from West Florida?
His overall record's really good, but making the jump from Division II up. I mean, I guess it's a possibility. I think they'll end up being 1AA in the next couple of years.
I think the people's choice would be John Sumrall from Kentucky, the co-defensive coordinator at Kentucky, and he, I know that they've got to they've got a buyout they've got to consider. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I know another name I'm hearing is the guy out of Ozark, Charles Kelly, co-defense coordinator at Alabama.
That would be
for 5 years. A lot of people are interested in him because his family's still in Ozark. He would be a guy that would probably be interested in the Troy job.
I'm sure he would be. But Will tells me that he makes too much money already.
Well, that's the thing. Like Derek Ansley, I don't know if Troy could afford his contract. He made $1 million as defense coordinator at Tennessee. Lindsey's buyout was $700,000, reported by AL.com. Troy paid Neil Brown around $750,000. All this is public state knowledge. So I don't know. I think the new coach will probably have to pay around $800,000.
Yeah, Brown, I think, was making close to $700,000. He'd make, and I want to say
Brown made $750,000 his last year. Is what I read in his contract.
Okay. And so there are a lot of guys out there that would like to have the job. And, you know, it's like I hate to hear this word. He is. This would be a stepping stone, you know, for any young coach. And,
Well, that's a good point, Mike.
I tell you a name you don't hear, but the guy was unbelievably successful at Jacksonville State. I wonder if John Grosh will be a candidate.
Yeah.
You're right. He was a good coach at Jack State, and you know.
Well, let's expand on what Mike just said. That it's going to be a stepping stone for any young coach. They want to get to a Power 5, $10 million a year job, which is fine and understandable. But then if you got a coach that's kind of later in his life that's already been there, done that,
that's right.
They might be happy to have 10, 12 years, you know, there, like somebody like Mike Turk or.
And people laugh at me, oh no. Let me tell you something. A football coach is a football coach. And if anybody would tell you that Mike Turk couldn't coach these guys, he could coach them in a second.
Dang right.
He could coach them up, tell you the truth.
Well, he'd be better because think of all the hats he has to wear at Huntington.
And
He would
people
have
say,
more help.
Oh, you know, no, he's Division III or Division II. All you're thinking of is the great Mike Turk as a player. But I tell you what.
Well, he was a great assistant in the best years of Troy football under Coach Blakeney, and then he's proven that he can do it at Huntington, which has about 750 students.
Well, I'll tell you this: he was at Troy right at 10 years, maybe even 15 years as an assistant coach, and he was the offensive coordinator under some of Blakeney's best teams.
Well, who did he hired and trained Derek Ansley? He saw coaching ability in him, and then Ansley was on Turk's staff for 5 years, so that tells you something about Mike too.
Well, I'll tell you this right now.
I wonder if Brian Vincent would get a chance, the former, South Alabama offense coordinator, UAB's offense coordinator. I mean, he's a guy that I think would probably be
at UAB. He did a great job.
Well, he's well liked in Troy from his days at Charleston.
Don't see how UAB got beat on the last play of the game against University of Texas San Antonio. That was a brutal loss.
Oh, how did they do it? What happened?
It was 7 seconds left. That UAB was up. The final score was 34-31. So UAB was up 31-27, and they botched the snap. And the quarterback for San Antonio picked it up, stumbling backwards, and threw it in the end zone. And God jumped up and called it. They beat UAB 34-31.
Isn't that unreal? And they ended the season undefeated too.
Well, they got one more game, but that cost UAB a chance to play in the conference championship.
Yeah, well, I tell you that was a heartbreaker. And now, how about that guy? Would he consider?
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine he's pleased to be.
You want Bill Clark?
Yeah.
I doubt it. Troy couldn't pay him enough.
Isn't that amazing that Troy can't pay him enough?
Somebody, one of you that told us a week Troy could have got him several years ago.
Remember the article the other day from Dothan? I was talking to a guy that works at UAB the other day, and somebody from Dothan gave UAB $100 million the other day.
Did they really? Oh yeah. I knew that. And he's the eye guru. Great.
I'm just saying there's a lot of big time donors at UAB.
Yeah, they are in the medical field, pretty much.
Well, you watch it. I've been talking about it. They've got this. How much did that stadium cost? $700 million. They're going to be financing it for forever. And
well, they're about to play the World Football League in that stadium as well.
Oh, that's good.
That'll be a flop.
Yeah.
Or the USL Football League, but it's all going to be carried on television by Fox.
Yeah.
And then they're going to start having concerts in there. I was reading an article in the paper the other day. So it's going to be used for a lot of purposes.
Oh, I understand. I mean, yeah, I'm all for it. You use it. You pay for it. Use it for everything you can. But I don't think you ain't gonna have fannies in the bleachers at UAB games, which I predicted all along when they started this program back. I was one of the few contrarians that said no. UAB doesn't have the fan support. They've proven it over 20 years. I mean, it actually took a lot of courage to discontinue that football program But then they came, the alleged fans came out of the woodwork, and when they started it back, and they got a good coach, and they've done really well. Credit to them, but I just don't think they can sustain it.
Mike, by far the leading candidate for what I hear is John Summerall, the defensive coordinator, co-defensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
I mean, he really want a guy that's never been a coordinator,
Yeah.
even in college.
Well,
he's a
he's a real sharp. When he was here, I think he made a lot of friends when he was coaching here under Neil Brown, and that, I don't know if you could go out there and get a guy any better than John Summerall.
I mean, he might have been a co-coordinator. I mean, Larry was a co-coordinator at Auburn. I mean, he was not the actual offense coordinator. Jack Crow was.
Along with a guy.
And then Pat Sullivan was too.
Yeah, that's right. And of course.
Well, there's coaching availabilities everywhere, so we were probably smart to go ahead and make a decision to start this process now.
Troy's gonna have issues because that Jack State job, a lot of people are gonna want that. I mean, the Troy job being open, I mean, that's a terrible job. With Jack State now making the move to Division I.
You're exactly right, and they're all excited at Jacksonville State right now too. And
Troy is getting respect out of Vegas. Georgia State's only a 6-point favorite against Troy.
Boy, they do. And let's just say this. Let's say this right now. I've been told that if Troy wins that game, they're going to a bowl, and that would be super.
I mean,
that would be wonderful.
That's 100% true because they'll have there's 5 teams that can go to bowls, and they'll be the 5th team.
All right. All right. So listen to this. It's worth driving to Atlanta to support Troy and
they have the tiebreaker against South Alabama because South Alabama they beat head-to-head.
Okay, that's right. So Troy's got a great chance to go to a bowl game, and of course I don't know which one it'd be. It might be the Montgomery Camellia Bowl. It might be the Mobile. I love that Mobile Bowl. It's pretty good too. That's going to be played in their new
Troy's
stadium.
never played in Montgomery. I would think that this is the year to play in Montgomery.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have a head coach. You're 45 minutes away. I think this is the year you play Montgomery if you got eligible.
And I would be just jumping up and down, doing backward flips if we can win that game, and we can possibly win that game.
You leave your family in Birmingham and travel to Montgomery to watch Troy play on Christmas Day?
Yes, sir. I should.
What about watching your grandkids open presents?
He can do that at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man, he's got me.
No. I mean, we got to do what he wants to do because he wants Christmas to last all day, and he may miss about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. His big thing was everybody else's Christmas is over. You got something to look forward to.
That's exactly right. Opening presents. I've always thought that 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Day is the time to open up gifts. All your neighbors have opened up theirs and all that, and you're sitting down to a magnificent meal, as good as anybody's in this world. And then after you get up out of the table and you move over into the den, and you say, "Hey, look at all these presents we got to unwrap."
That's when you need some.
That's
when you need some paid
it.
help to clean those dishes that are going to fill up in the kitchen after that big meal. And
you're right.
You're not going to have any paid help on Christmas either.
Yeah, that's right.
So how many people out there you think are going to take Auburn plus 19.5?
Auburn is 19. I would think there'd be a lot of people.
I will.
I don't know if. This is not.
Did they not watch that defense I watched live in person in Tuscaloosa? That secondary is pretty awful for Alabama.
Tell me about your trip to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: the 3-lane out of Birmingham now is the greatest thing ever in Tuscaloosa. Getting to Tuscaloosa because 2059 is now 3-lane all the way through, which was never the case when I used to drive over from Birmingham before. So we literally did not stop until we hit a street light in downtown Tuscaloosa.
Isn't that
It was
amazing?
the easiest drive I've ever made in my life. It was like 45 miles, probably going 80 the whole time. Just the easiest drive. And then got to buddy's house, and he drove us to the stadium and went to the strip and tons of activity going on. Everybody getting ready to go to the game, and then went into the stadium and got to see the new additions. It hadn't changed that much at all. The work they did, I mean, is very hard to even really notice. But the biggest thing is how they pump the music in there. It's like a concert throughout the game, and then they have these lights, blaring and blinking, and light shows pretty much throughout the third and fourth quarter when it gets dark. But great atmosphere as always. But
Did you ever think that?
Definitely some empty seats in the upper decks. I mean, it was definitely not a sellout. I'll say that.
I looked at the attendance figures for most of the big time programs Saturday, and attendance is down everywhere. There was one sellout game in the SEC, and y'all know who that was. I bet you, if you think about it. Who's the hot team in the SEC right now? Georgia was the only team that. But teams all over the country are, 70% capacity, 75, 80. I think Alabama was 98, 99%. It's a function of these fancy high-def TVs, and then people saving money. I think it's just not as many people go to games.
I mean, South Carolina beat Auburn in front of like 69,000.
Yeah, 11,000.
Over 80.
Yeah, I noticed that there were 11,000 empty seats for South Carolina, and this is after South Carolina was coming off a big win, right?
Mike,
I tell you what, we took this Joyride golf cart outside the stadium though, and we were trying to get our favorite restaurant, the Palmer's downtown. This guy was on this golf cart, weaving in and out of traffic, going about 25 miles an hour. I mean, those golf carts are everywhere to drive people around Tuscaloosa. That's the best thing they've got going there now. You can get in and out so much faster.
Well, I tell you, it sounds like you had a good time. Let me ask this: did you ever think the game was in doubt?
Well, I mean, you did when Alabama, I guess they punted the ball. Arkansas got the ball at their own one. I mean, they would have had a chance to take the lead there. And then, of course, I didn't know if James Williams caught that ball. Apparently, a lot of people in the nation feel like that was trapped.
Yeah.
The last touchdown pass. I definitely felt better that Bryce Young, they got the 2-point conversion. But watching Bryce Young throw live is pretty phenomenal. I mean, he has just got a rocket of an arm, and his accuracy is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'd put him up as a thrower already better than Tua, in my opinion.
And that's
I'd
something.
say that. He is phenomenally accurate. He has got a cannon.
So you think he can beat Georgia or he can beat Auburn?
I mean, he's got a thrower's chance to beat anybody, but I just don't know if defensively Alabama can match up against Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, the defense.
I mean, don't you think Alabama defensively is going to get gashed by Georgia?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think it'll be a shootout though?
I don't know.
Alabama also has major issues that.
I feel like Alabama has not played their best game.
That's true.
If they play their best game in that SEC championship, they can beat Georgia.
They'd have to play their best game, but the defense is, besides number 31, I don't see anybody that really impresses me that much.
Well, let me say one thing.
Yeah, the linebacker Harris is really taking a step backwards this year. He was phenomenal last year, number 8.
Yeah, I've watched him. He looks bad on a lot of plays. And that's Pete Golden coaches that position. Before him, Dylan Moses, he had an awful year last year if you watched him. I don't even know why they played him. I mean, there had to be somebody better than him. They don't gang tackle. They just, as Dad used to say, it's like they catch people instead of tackling people.
They never win a line of scrimmage. You ever notice? I mean, how many times? I mean, if somebody's got to get 1 or 2 yards, they get it against Alabama. They never win a line of scrimmage.
The people don't go backwards when they.
But then at the same time, what will be the line if Alabama beats Auburn? What will be the line for the conference championship?
Georgia will be about 4.
How many times in your life have you ever, or your recent life, have you ever seen Alabama the underdog?
One time in the Saban era.
And
I mean, one time in Georgia they were, and Alabama won by 40.
Do you know Alabama has been there? Does that mean anything to you? Alabama has been there, and Georgia has not been there.
Well, they have been there.
Georgia's been there. They were there 2 in
They were there when Jalen came in and beat them. They were leading both of those games.
And then, of course, can Brian
I mean,
Harsin...
Georgia and Stetson Bennett. I mean, it's still a big question. Like when you play against, a team that can score like Alabama, is eventually is he? I mean, the walk-on quarterback. Is he eventually going to make some mistakes? I don't know. He made a lot of mistakes against Alabama when Alabama beat him last year.
I think he was good last year, and I think he's better this year. I like a little Stetson. It's like Thurston Howell the third, Stetson Bennett the fourth. He's better than what we think he is, and he's good enough to win a national championship for Georgia. But you're right. If he does falter, they can go to the bullpen and got a guy that's also proven that can chunk the ball.
Well,
another interesting name to think about is Muschamp on that staff at Georgia. He's going to want to get back into head coaching. Would he be interested in a Jacksonville State? Would he be interested in a Troy?
Would Troy be interested in him?
I'm sure Troy can watch Jacksonville. They are in need of a guy that can take them to the big dance, or take them to the big
like Coach Wade.
1AA.
Favorite saying is it comes down to players.
That's right.
Players, or I had players. I guarantee you got to have somebody that can recruit. And Troy's got to get stronger on the offense and the defensive line. I mean that offense performance against Appalachian State has got to be one of the worst in Troy's history. I think they had 140 yards of total offense. Yeah. And they had the ball 16 minutes in that game.
That's terrible.
That's almost impossible.
That was terrible. That meant that was the difference in the whole game. They didn't have the football.
I mean, Troy was down 10-7 at the half, so they actually played a pretty competitive.
On the last play of the half, they threw a Hail Mary type pass, and the guy reached up and grabbed it, or Troy would have had the lead 7-3 at the half.
Mm-hmm. Boy, you talk about going south in a hurry.
When I saw that final score pop up in the stadium, I was just shocked. I was just like, how in the world you go from
and embarrassed
45-7?
And Mike, you were embarrassed, weren't you?
I tell you what, Vegas sometimes or the majority of the time, it's right on the money, but they gave you a free win over the weekend. I called it earlier in the week. I said, Lafayette's a 4.5-point underdog at Liberty. I said, Lafayette has won 9 in a row. Liberty's not like the same thing they've been like they were last year. And Lafayette goes to Liberty and wins 42-13.
Lafayette's pretty good, aren't they? And those are the two best teams. Lafayette, Coastal's pretty good.
Yeah, Lafayette and App State will play for the championship now. Because Coastal lost to App State.
Yeah.
Coastal got their quarterback back, though.
The quarterback is back.
I think I read that.
And of course,
and also Coastal travels to South Alabama this weekend. I think they were 14.5-point favorite, but if South Alabama wins, they'd get to 6 wins. But they would need Troy to lose for them to get that last bowl spot. So Troy.
We sure don't want that to happen.
Yeah, South Alabama fans are pulling big for Troy to lose to Georgia State, and if they somehow pull off a huge upset, they would go to the bowl.
All right, Michael, question unanswered. Did you ever think Alabama was in trouble at all?
Yeah, I felt like they were in trouble. Because I felt like there was a chance late that they get onside kick with a minute left. We stayed for the very end because for the first time in a long, I can't even remember when, I didn't have to get in the car and drive back to Birmingham. I stayed in Tuscaloosa, so we were in no rush leaving the stadium.
I'll say that Georgia, I think, beat Arkansas, 37-0. Alabama wins by a touchdown. But on the other side of the ledger, Alabama scored 42 points against Arkansas and should have scored 56. Alabama fumbles at the 1-yard line.
Did they going in?
Yeah, and then they had another time where they had a touchdown called back because of a bogus holding penalty. What do I say all year, Mike?
Yeah.
Referees determined.
Yeah.
I saw that the little Knicks had a comment that said the referees are always helping Alabama in the Iron Bowl and all these games. Well, Bryce Young had a.
Does he not realize how lucky Auburn's been at home over the years with calls?
God, last year especially.
Well, I tell you what, Auburn's coming to fight. They're gonna fight you.
Anyway, Alabama could have easily had 56 points. they had almost 700 yards of offense. So the offense is fine, looking good.
Yeah, Bryce Young threw for 559.
That's a record, isn't it?
B-Rob
They
had
honored Scott Hunter before the game. He broke Scott Hunter's passing record, so Scott Hunter's passing record no longer exists.
I'd like to see that. What did they do for Scott Hunter?
They just honored him and one of his teammates before the game.
Yeah. Well, I liked Scott Hunter. He was a good quarterback.
he was quarterback
with
when
484 yards in the game.
Yeah.
in a losing
who
effort.
That was against Ole Miss.
That was against Auburn.
Yeah. Oh, it was against Auburn.
And they lost by 14 points, so who cares?
Well, one night he was playing Archie Manning, and I think he threw for 300 yards and won the ball game. Thanks to George Raniger ran back the kick for a touchdown, and it was the first night game ever televised on
ABC
Network.
Yep.
And
I mean, I don't know, Rice. In my opinion, if Alabama beats Auburn, they go 11-1. I am content on the season. Like I've never have felt like this is a dominant Alabama program. They're missing enough alphas, strong leadership that they can even get to the playoffs, winning that championship. In my opinion, I feel like even if they beat Auburn and they go 11-1, I'll be happy with the season. I don't expect them to beat Georgia this year. If they did, it'd be amazing. And then if they go to a bowl and they go 12-2, I consider this a pretty decent season.
Yeah. I'm with you, Michael.
Let's take a coffee break, and we'll be right back with this conversation right after this.
Join us live to watch your local Christmas parades on November 30th at 6:30 p.m. in Enterprise, Alabama, December 6th at 6 p.m. in Troy, Alabama, December 7th at 6 p.m. in Ozark, Alabama, and December 9th at 6 p.m. in Luverne, Alabama, on Troy Cable Channel 2.
Are you a driver trainee just finishing school and want to drive an automatic truck? Then call Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Right, Puzzle? We have automatic trucks. That's right. And we will reimburse you for your driver training. No pets? Not at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we thought of everything. We thought of the kennel for your fuzzy friend. Right, Fuzzy? Tell them about it. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come drive for the best today. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Tell them, Fuzzy.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
.2:30 kickoff on CBS.
We're back on the air.
Back to the air, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, Big Al is getting ready. He's getting ready as the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers get ready to battle for the bragging rights of the state. And as we always say, the Crimson Tide under Big Al this morning is going up head to head with a guy named Albee. And Albie's not going to.
Auburn's won the last 3 games that year.
And Michael, listen, one thing about old Albee, he's not going to give up. He's not going to give up. He's going to fight you to the end. Auburn and Alabama, 2:30 kickoff on CBS. It's Alabama, Auburn, and the bragging rights for the state.
So when Troy had a real legitimate chance to win out South Carolina this year. Did you ever think in your right mind that Auburn would lose at South Carolina?
I never did. I really didn't. What actually happened to Auburn?
I mean, Auburn was looking like they could have competed for a national championship at that point. Got a call. Let's see.
Yeah, get it right here.
Let's see. Cold conference.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
What you up to this morning?
Hey, is that Will?
Will Matthews.
Well, I'm just drinking some coffee. We're talking Iron Bowl. Can you believe that?
Will, did you get your pies?
I did, and I tell you, I was so tempted to take a bite of one last night. I had to.
See, just think what a great guy you're gonna be when you sit down to the Thanksgiving meal and you bring out 2 delicious homemade pies.
We've got 13 people, so I think they will probably last.
But you know, that's a good gesture. They say, "Oh, isn't Will nice to have brought pies and cakes?" To
Will is supporting the Tiger Sharks swim team in Troy. Thank you, Will. What a great guy.
And of course, Will Matthews is on the line, and Will, give us your picks for the week.
Well, I don't know yet. I hadn't really looked at it, but I know one game I really like is Mississippi State against Ole Miss. I think they're going to beat Ole Miss.
Boy, that's going to be a shootout. If
Is that game Thanksgiving night?
I
think so too.
I'm not sure.
When is the Egg Bowl?
Yeah, Thanksgiving night on ESPN at 6:30.
Oh man, that's going to be a great game.
That will be great. Yeah.
And
we're all like
you're
that.
talking about a shootout. I could see a huge shootout.
Those have been some great games, yeah.
Will, I'm trying to find your picks from last week. How'd you do?
I picked 12 games, and I was 7-5.
Okay,
that's good. Still winning.
And I lost one game by half a point, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I tell you, it's been a crazy world of football. I tell you, no question about it. But we've got some great games coming up this weekend, and we're gonna do our coaches show tomorrow. On this show, we're gonna do our coaches show. Our picket show.
Oh, good.
So, Will, you can call in and give us your picks.
Now, I did hear LSU's down to 3 on the coaching. Their coaches.
All right, tell us who are they?
All right, tell us who.
Billy Napier from
Napier.
It's Napier.
Oh, it is Napier. I never heard it pronounced like that.
I never heard them say Napier.
That's the way he says it. So,
it's a Cajun. Yeah, you're right.
Mark Campbell from Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from Baylor that used to be the defensive coordinator at LSU.
Oh, good choices.
Well, gosh.
All right, here's Will's picks from last week. He had Kentucky minus 36.5. They covered barely late. Arkansas covers easy plus 20.5. Missouri, I like that game as well. They covered plus 8.5. Beat Florida outright. Auburn lost minus the 7.
You know what, Michael? I changed that Auburn thing for myself on Saturday. I just had a feeling when I saw that crowd at South Carolina that South Carolina was going to give them trouble.
And then this is a game that I think Rice's dad and opposites. They didn't like Ole Miss minus 36, and Vandy actually played them pretty tough.
They did. I was on that. Yeah.
I got that one.
South Alabama gets blown out by Tennessee 60-14.
I didn't get that one.
That's embarrassing.
That was terrible.
You know what?
LSU survived Fly Monroe 27-14. You had LSU minus 28.5. Over in the Ohio State Michigan game, that did not go over, did it? What was it, 6-6?
Yeah, that's right. Ohio State did its part.
I thought it went over. I thought that one went over.
Yeah, it was 66, and then the lock of the day was Utah. Man, they just destroyed Oregon.
They really did.
3-point favorite. Iowa State played Oklahoma tough, but Oklahoma won by 7. And then Texas lost.
And Iowa State had the ball on the 5-yard line and threw an interception with about a minute to go.
Or they would have beat Oklahoma?
They would have tied.
And then Texas, and then Texas lost to West Virginia, big win by Neil Brown, 31-23. Texas lost again. I think was it 5 in a row.
Yeah. I tell you what, there's some Texas fans who were ready to take his contract, don't you think?
And then you had Notre Dame -17. Did Notre Dame blow out somebody?
Yeah.
They blew out.
57-0.
I tell you, Notre Dame's playing well. I would not doubt. I hate to say it, but I wouldn't doubt if they don't make the playoffs.
They're starting to be mentioned.
They beat Georgia Tech 57-0.
Oh yeah.
I think Neil Brown's going to get so bold because their last game is traveling to Kansas. I think
Well,
they'll beat
good.
Kansas at Kansas, and West Virginia will go to 6-6.
Even though Kansas is playing better, though, they're playing a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, I like these preseason bets where you bet the win totals for the season. Man, I thought I had a lock getting Auburn +6.5 to Auburn to get 7 wins. Well, Auburn, if they lose to Alabama, is not going to get 7
You know what
wins.
I found out doing all this? Nice guys don't always win. Bless his heart. This guy at Auburn, he's a nice guy though. Auburn's in trouble. Auburn.
A lot of people say Hartson is the league candidate for the Washington job.
Are they? Hey, if he is, Auburn people are jumping up and down doing backward flips, evidently.
Well, he and Chris Peterson were best buddies before Boise coach.
Mike, you've got something that,
to Washington.
Mike,
before.
that could happen. That could
Well, it might be moved if Auburn.
Well, it's not just me. It's been all over radio. I was listening to radio shows yesterday. 2 or 3 different shows brought it up.
Well, Auburn is going to fire Gene Harsin unless he gets a vaccine, and I don't know if he is.
Oh gosh, that's going to give my easy way out. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Gene Harsin.
But Rice, we're laughing about this, but it might come true.
Well, they said their policy is that you have to be fully vaccinated by December 5th. Now, this OSHA ruling has been appealed and blocked temporarily, so I don't know if that affects Alabama and Auburn's mandate that employees have to be vaccinated, but it's very possible that Brian Hartson will be released for not getting his jab.
And you know, they probably people are, don't you know people are saying right now they made a mistake on Harsin. You reckon?
This is also you're the lawyer, Will. Heck, I guess this would give Auburn an out. They could say they fired him for cause.
Yeah, they could.
And save all his buyout.
They could.
Man, oh man, isn't it unreal?
Then Auburn could bring Gus back.
Oh, they could. Oh me. I tell you what, Auburn people can't be very excited about this guy now. I thought he was the real deal, but I don't see it now. I really don't.
Well, it's funny. I mean, Auburn's
Isn't that crazy?
beating the slop out of Mississippi State in the first half.
Yeah.
Everything's going great. Then the wheels come off. Then they're beating South Carolina 14-0. I don't think they're as bad as everybody says they are. I think just be patient with Coach Harsin.
I'm not saying they're as bad as we think they are, but at the same time, they're not as good as we thought they would be.
Yeah, Ole Miss, Mississippi State will be Thanksgiving night, 6:30 on ESPN.
That's a great ball game.
Favorite.
What now?
1-point favorite. Wow, State a 1-point favorite.
Isn't that amazing? And boy, that's going to be a shootout if there ever was one.
Ole Miss is 9-2, Mississippi State 7-4.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the over-under on that game, Michael?
What is it?
What do you think? 62.
I tell you what.
Over that.
Exactly. All right.
Well, you look at 35-31. You go over.
What games do we have on Friday when I'm just chilling out? Do we got any good ones?
A bunch of them, Bill.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of MAC games. You got Boise State, San Diego State, Kansas State, Texas. That game will be on Fox at 11. Iowa against Nebraska. Nothing really stand out. The best game of the day will be 2:30. Missouri 6-5 against Arkansas 7-4.
I'm gonna tell you something right here. You're gonna laugh your head off, but East Carolina's got a shot against Cincinnati. East Carolina is pretty good. I just want to throw that out.
What's the line on
Yeah,
that,
he-
Mike?
That,
I'm trying to figure out when that game is. That's not on Friday, is it?
that is on. Gosh, there's a
Who
bunch
has the
of
best
games on
chance
Friday,
to,
there's a bunch of
South Alabama will play at home against Coastal Carolina. TCU against Iowa State. North Carolina against NC State. Washington State against Washington. So those are all your Friday games.
That's some pretty good ones.
East Carolina, Cincinnati is going to be on Saturday.
on Saturday. Okay.
The team that might upset Cincinnati and kill their playoff chances is Houston in the conference championship game.
Okay.
With Marcus Jones
this
from
is
Enterprise.
just a regular season game. Is that right?
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it might be Notre Dame might back into the playoffs because they don't have to play in the conference championship game like everybody else. It kind of gives them a big advantage, doesn't it?
Isn't it crazy how one day you're looking like you hung the moon, and now the people at Texas A&M wonder why they lost like they have.
Yeah, the best game Saturday night will be Oklahoma at Oklahoma State, 10-1 against 10-1. Oklahoma State's a 3.5-point favorite. That game will be on ABC on Saturday.
Hey, I tell you, Oklahoma State is for real defensively. Evidently, they lead the nation on total defense, I think.
I know, surprising. You know, Alabama might as well be in the playoffs right now. What's the playoffs? You win, you advance. You lose, you're out. Well, Alabama's got to beat Auburn. If they don't, they can forget the playoffs. Then they got to beat the Georgia game is definitely the first round of the playoffs. They win there, they keep going. So Alabama's got 4 playoff games. They've got to run the table, and they're national champions. It's that simple.
Boy.
They will have no problem, Auburn.
Yeah. Why do you?
Auburn game still scares me because Alabama's defense is just not there. What about Alabama? What about Alabama's defense? Don't you think that's kind of scary?
Do you think they hold Auburn under 50 points?
I think Auburn will definitely be able to run on Alabama.
I don't think Auburn will score 25 points, and Alabama's going to score 50.
Is this guy? How does the quarterback look?
He didn't look great against South Carolina. DJ Finley.
Yeah.
Man, he has an arm though. God, you talk about an arm that Bryce Young has. That Auburn quarterback has a cannon.
Well, I was looking at boy. We got.
I will say this: if Bo Nix was the quarterback, they would have beat South Carolina, and then you would have had your kicker Andre Carlson not get hurt as well. If you had Bo Nix and Carlson, that line would be under 10 instead of 19.5.
Yeah. Well, that's I would think that just tradition alone, this game won't be a blowout. I don't believe. I believe it will be competitive.
They've beaten Alabama 3 straight times at Auburn.
Well, there you go. That's all you need to know.
Sure, yeah, that's all you need to. I know a lot of people that are going to the game that doesn't have tickets. I know that. Do you think there will be any tickets laying around?
There'll be hunt tickets on the street.
You think so? I know it.
Yeah, always are.
Yeah, I picked Auburn at the start of the season to go 6-6, and of course I felt like there was no way when they were 6-2 I was going to be right. But that schedule was just so brutal. You know, and it turned out that South Carolina ended up having a pretty good team towards the end of the year.
Oh, like I just said, I thought that was money in the bank when I picked Auburn to go over 6.5, and I just had penciled in that it was a guaranteed win against South Carolina. There you go.
Do we have
Who do you think Florida goes after?
Michael, I think Ron Zook would be an excellent choice.
Oh gosh.
Me too.
Ron Zook.
I don't know where he's at.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if anybody will ever go after the Kentucky coach, Mark Stoops. I think he's a pretty good coach.
But I'm going to tell you what I heard. I heard they've gone after his brother that's retired.
Bob, yeah.
And Bob said you need to hire a Stoops, but it's not me.
Former defense coordinator under Spurrier with Stoops before he got the Oklahoma job.
Y'all, this is some serious business, I tell you, especially the Troy.
LSU to Florida jobs being open. Boy, Lane Kiffin, man, I don't know if he would want to go into the West and have to play Ole Miss every year like
said it, Michael. That's the no-brainer right there.
That's right.
And
Man, oh man, all this is happening.
and he avoids Alabama and Ole Miss.
But they said on a radio show yesterday, Rice, that he still owns his house down in Boca Raton when he goes to Florida Atlantic, and they said he really wants a Miami job.
Oh
The
God.
Miami Fire's head coach.
I would take the
Can you
Florida
imagine him
job.
Can you imagine him recruiting out of Miami?
Yeah, I know. That'd be
He
something.
could do it, but man, the State University.
This thing is
Florida.
going crazy. You know, we're doing all this talking, and nobody's even mentioned the Michigan-Ohio State game. What kind of game is that going to be? I'm pretty impressed with
Yeah.
Michigan.
Actually, that's 11 o'clock kick on Fox. Ohio State's an 8-point favorite, over under 63.5.
Yeah, but
I think they'll cover 8.
Alabama needs Michigan to get beat, so I think that would help
Yeah.
Alabama if Michigan
all
got
right,
beat.
we got another call coming in here. It's
Y'all
probably
hold.
Max Howell.
We'll
Let's
see. We'll try to come back. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
This is Max Howell. How are you this morning?
Max, how you
Good.
doing, my friend?
Let's put Michael or Will back on.
Let's see. Let's go to Will and Will. All right, here we go.
Well, let's see. I gotta go.
Of course, we got phone calls going on everywhere. There we go, Max. So we're on there. All right, Max.
Well, I lost Will, but
You got Max.
All right,
We're
okay.
here. We can get Will tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Max Howell is our guest, ladies and gentlemen, and all, excuse my language, audience, all hell is broke loose. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do, Max?
I think Michael just hit it, as he often does. Lane Kiffin to Florida is my prediction.
Well,
Max, more importantly, we're a Troy, Alabama-based show. What do you think about Troy finally making the coaching change?
Well, you know, as far as Troy's concerned, I thought that basically was time. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's, you know, Chip came in there at a disadvantage with Neal's record. Neal had 4 consecutive years of 10 wins, and the fan base, you know, expects that. It all really goes back to recruiting. With the portal like it is now, really there's no reason why Troy can't be right back in that 9-10 win season. And I know the conference is going to get tougher. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think there that lies another reason there was not much improvement in that program over the last couple of years. And certainly Chip filled the need at that particular time, but it was time for Troy to move over, in my opinion.
Mike, is there a buyout here? Is there a buyout?
AL.com reported a buyout of $700,000 that will be paid. Apparently there was a 4th-year option in his contract, is what I read on AL.com. But Troy to pay $700,000 is
That's a lot of money.
Gold. Of course, Mullen's getting $12 million at Florida.
Is that his buyout?
But I mean, the thing with Coach Lindsey, I mean, you got to look at Neil Brown. Neil Brown won 10, 11, 10, and Chip Lindsey in 3 years won 15 games.
Yeah.
So, that was the writing on the wall.
And he worked hard, and he did a lot of things good, and we wish him best of luck.
He got hit hard by transfers out of the program for sure.
Yeah, it really did. And but Max, one of the people that have been mentioned is from Fulton, Mississippi. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Jordan Leslie. You remember Jordan Leslie, who's with Coach Brown's staff now? He's
the defense coordinator at West Virginia.
He's the defense coordinator at West Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that they had a coach from here, but I wasn't aware. I didn't know it.
Coach Max Howell is our guest today, one of the leading prognosticators in the country, and boy, we got a lot of things happening to us. Is there anything right now on the LSU job?
No, I was just talking to some friends in Florida and in Baton Rouge yesterday. They went out. They made a big splash nationally about as far as the money's concerned. They offered Riley from Oklahoma $12 million a year.
Parker, $9 billion a year.
Oh,
They set
God.
the bar.
Yeah.
I just talked with Buddy Barton down in Gainesville this morning, and Buddy said they're going to start at $8 billion, so that you guys probably have to go to 9 or 10
Yeah.
to get kicking, and that's who they will.
You know who's laughing and just sitting back, just enjoying all of this is Saban, because he's been told that he's going to make more than any other coach. So when they move their salaries up, he just sits back and says, "Well, I'll take that slot after y'all get through."
But Mike, he's earned it, Mike.
Yeah, you're right.
He's done what it takes to get there. All these guys are market people. Whatever the market will stand, it'll do it. Of course, remember, that's not done by the coach, that's done by the agents.
And y'all know, and by the agent, the guy that's laughing at them all is your buddy, the agent. Sexton. Your Sexton is laughing at all of them. He's gonna make money off all those guys. He's probably the agent for every one of them, isn't he?
How much do these agents get, Max?
About 45 on his roster. But guys, there's 17 college coaching jobs open. He's coaching open in the state in the country right now.
Yeah,
17 out of 130.
There'll be more than that after this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I wish that we and of course beggars would be choosers, but I would have hoped that they would let the guy coach the rest of his games and then let him go. I hate to see him get him in the middle of the year.
Most of them give that opportunity, Mike. It's the coaches don't want to do it. And I don't blame them. If I'd have been fired, I would never step on the field after.
Troy, after that performance against Ohio State, AD Brent Jones had no choice. The fan base had had enough, and that's one of the more embarrassing losses Troy had ever had. 45-7, 130 yards of offense, 16 minutes. You had the ball offensively the whole game. You had to go ahead and do it.
Well, congratulations to coach to the coach, because he's going to walk home with about $700,000. Isn't that right?
This is tough for is the assistants and the strength coaches and people they also lose their jobs too, and then they don't get $700,000 a year.
I know it.
There's a chance some of these defensive coaches might keep a job at Troy. Some of those guys might stay on.
Well, it's a lot of Troy flavor on that
You're
set.
an assistant coach. You need to level you understand that. That's part of the employment record.
Yep.
You go out to be prepared to move. And let me tell you, it's the family that suffers from that. It's not the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's aggressive enough. He's out there looking for a job, but a lot of times the wife doesn't understand it. The children don't understand it. But you have to uproot and take them, somewhere else every 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough job. I went through that. I'm telling you. It cost me 2 families to make that. But I chose that career, and I was doing that before I married either one of them.
They knew what they were getting into.
I'll tell you a story about that. I mean, I've been in sales most of my life, and I started a new sales job in Birmingham one time, and my boss called me into his office, and he said, "Michael, when I hired you, I paid you to sell. The reason I'm paying you is to sell, and you're not selling." And same thing in coaching. You got to win. We're paying you to win. We're paying you to win championships, and we're paying you to go to bowl games. So it's just part of it.
Well, the kids and the wives of football coaches are got to be a special breed, because they are
special breed to stay. You're absolutely right. It hats off to them. I mean, that's they have to run the family. They pay the bills, and they take care of the kids, and they take them to the hospital when they're sick and all that stuff.
Because the coaches during football season work 14-hour days probably, or most places.
When I was at Troy, guys, we worked 20-hour days.
Yeah, no question about it. We're going to take a short break. It's brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Looking for a career in trucking, no better place than Wiley Sanders Trucking in Troy, Alabama. We'll be back.
Join us live to watch your local Christmas parades on November 30th at 6:30 p.m. in Enterprise, Alabama, December 6th at 6 p.m. in Troy, Alabama, December 7th at 6 p.m. in Ozark, Alabama, and December 9th at 6 p.m. in Luverne, Alabama, on Troy Cable Channel 2.
Are you a driver trainee just finished in school and want to drive an automatic truck? Then call Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Right, Puzzle? We have automatic trucks. That's right. And we will reimburse you for your driver training. No pets? Not at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we thought of everything. We thought of the killer for your fuzzy friend. Right, Fuzzy? Tell them about it. Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Come drive for the best today. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Tell them, Fuzzy.
Forevermark Diamonds. Beautiful, rare, responsibly sourced. Available at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Okay, back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Max Howell is our guest, of course, one of the leading prognosticators in the country. I've got to say something on a local note. Is Sounds of the Seasons is tonight at the Claudia Crosby Theater. A wonderful, this is a wonderful show for you to carry your kids to. It's a wonderful Christmas program, brought to you by the Troy University Dance, with a dance and also with their
dance and theater program.
And theater program too. And this will be a wonderful night. Starts at 7 o'clock tonight. At 6 o'clock they have their tree lighting and some treats and some
great
knickknacks and everything. It's starting at 6.
Is it free?
Yes, sir. It starts at 6, and then the Sound of the Seasons
at what time?
Starts at 7 o'clock.
At Claudia Crosby Theater.
And it's a wonderful, you folks got kids or
good, wholesome, free, and those dancers are fantastic.
They really are, no question about it.
Max, what do you think at Troy, though? I mean, as an AD, Brent Jones, I mean, I think a lot of people would not like a retread, a guy that's had a head coaching job and lost at a program, even if it was a big-time program. I think I would go for a younger, hungrier guy that really wants to, a great recruiter more than anything.
Absolutely, you hit it right on the head. A young guy that can communicate, and I'm gonna tell you guys, recruiting has changed.
Mm-hmm.
It really has. Say you're taking 25 allocations. You go after about 15 high school kids or junior college kids. Then I say 10 of those for the portal.
They're right.
Troy.
Yeah.
I remember that's when we built that program in '68. They didn't have a portal, but we took the transfer.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we count the number. Look, in the first 4 years that were there, I could count the number of high school kids we signed on two hands.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't take them. Guess what? We won the national championship by doing it that way. And nothing's changed in the concept, but you got to be selective in the players.
Well,
I'll tell you what's changed is probably Troy was doing that more so than all its teams it was playing. Y'all were smart,
absolutely.
But now on the transfer portal, everybody is trying to do the exact same.
You have to be selective. You need somebody. I'm just going to give you an outline of who I'd like to see Troy look for. Look at some of these programs where the head coaches left. Look at Florida. Look at LSU. And try to find a young guy. Find some people that's close to the program. Talk about his character. Talk about his aggressiveness and who he knows in the business. And can he recruit? And can he communicate with administration? help. Look, this Troy. It's taken 10, 15 years. Look for a guy like Dio that was on the move. Keep him 3, 4, 5 years. Get the best out of it and go to the next one. Because they're always going to be available. You keep your budget down. You don't have to worry about payoffs and buyouts. There's 100 positive things to that.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, the number one candidate that I hear over and over and over is John Summerall, the linebacker coach at Kentucky. I hear him more than anybody.
Well, I don't know a lot of the assistant coaches, but I'm just giving you a profile that's out there, and there are tons of available guys that would love. That would be a huge step from an assistant.
Well, Summerall and Will Hall, who's the Southern Miss coach, were the leading two candidates that didn't get the job last time.
Have they mentioned? Have they mentioned Will Hall?
Well, no, Will Hall's at Southern Miss.
I know it, but they haven't mentioned him.
He's 2-8, Mike.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
it.
he finally beat a Division I team, Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that. They're gonna be good under him eventually, I believe. Don't you think, Max?
Well, yeah, I mean, you need to call Jeremy McClain though first. He hired him.
Yeah, but I think
Jeremy McClain hired Chip Lindsey too. People need to realize that. Brent Jones was an associate AD. That was a McClain. Jeremy McClain hire.
You're exactly right. That was a Jeremy McClain hire. Yeah.
Well, those guys are out there. Now, Will's a good football coach. I mean, he busted it. I've not talked much with him since he's been there, but he absolutely must have inherited zero.
Yeah. I was at that game, and I looked at them, though. They were pretty as they could be, but they just didn't play hard. I don't know what the problem was.
All right, Don. Here's John Summerall's bio. He's assistant coach, co-defense coordinator, inside linebacker, so that co-defense coordinator helps. He's a former Kentucky player. Let's see, Summerall was at Troy under Neil Brown. Where is this? I'm trying to figure out where.
He wasn't there many times.
Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was with Troy from 2016 to 2018.
Okay.
See, that might be a really good fit because he's relatively. I mean, he's still young. He's got connections in Troy that people know him. He's been there before.
He's also from Huntsville, Alabama. He's married. He's got 4 children. His career started at San Diego as defensive line coach, recruiting coordinator, then San Diego assistant head coach, co-defensive coordinator. Tulane, he was co-defensive coordinator, defensive line. Tulane, co-defensive coordinator, linebacker. Troy, assistant head coach, linebacker, special teams coordinator. Went to 3 bowls. Ole Miss linebacker coach in 2018. Kentucky inside linebacker coach 2019-20, and then 2021 he's co-defense coordinator inside linebacker at Kentucky.
Pretty impressive. And he's a very sharp individual, and he made a bunch of friends when he was here before.
How old would you say he is?
I wouldn't say he was 40. I would say. Would you say he's 40?
40.
Upper 30s, yeah, probably late 30s.
Yeah. Well, I would, and another thing too, I think he's a guy that you can go ahead and get early, and that can be working on recruiting players too. I think he'll be available.
He's young. Summerall was a 3-year Letterman winner at middle linebacker at Kentucky from 2002 to 2004. So if he graduated in 2004, he would definitely be young. I mean, he would be 17. He'd be 39 years old.
Well, he's young enough to have 4 children. He's been a daddy quite a while.
He would maybe be 40.
I would say that too.
He didn't spend all his time coaching. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Do you think Derek Ansley will be seriously considered, or he'll seriously consider it?
It all comes down to what happened at Tennessee. You know, is the NCAA involved with Tennessee's program? You know, as far as the probation. I don't know if Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Ansley have where they can't coach in college for a certain amount of time. I don't know how all that is.
I don't think so. I don't think that's called the show calls, and I don't think Ansley was involved in any of that.
Well, Max, of course we've got several big games coming up. I'd like to hear what you think about some of them. Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State has just got a tremendous offense.
No doubt. I don't even. I bet you the line's got to be 20 plus. I'm thinking Ohio State that one.
Yeah.
No, it's about 8.5.
Ohio State's only 8.
Yeah, that's right. They're 8.5. The 7.5 in the deal I'm looking at.
Well, they're playing in Michigan. That makes a difference.
And that's going to be a great game. And of course, what has had
Oklahoma State, Oklahoma will be a good game.
Boy, that's going to be a good game. And
yeah, because nobody knows what Oklahoma team's going to show up. That's the reason.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Who's going to be quarterback? Who's going to play quarterback for them?
I know it. But I'll tell you this right now. As far as I'm concerned, Oklahoma State's got a chance. I would think that if they win this game and win the game next week, they'll be in the 4-team playoffs. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
And that's Oklahoma State.
Well, we know the Pac-12 is not going to get anybody in.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll tell you this: didn't you think that Oregon sort of, they really hit hard times?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They lost 2 ball games.
And you know, they had everything in their hands too. Everything was set up for them to go.
Yeah, that's a couple of years ago. They had the same deal.
Nobody from the ACC is going to get in either. So you're going to have the Big 12 and maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah.
No.
And I said something.
Cincinnati and Oklahoma State will have to have Alabama lose to Georgia, and probably Notre Dame get beat as well. For either one of those to get in.
Yeah, well, Notre Dame should get in. I mean, they lost at home to Cincinnati by double digits.
Yeah. All right.
It's still one loss. And Notre Dame gets. They got to. Look, guys, you got to remember what this is all about. They want the best teams, but that's not the first criteria.
Yeah.
The first criteria is how many people can watch the ball game.
Max,
It's the money that you gave. It has nothing to do with, with rankings or anything else. It's all about making money.
Say Alabama beats Auburn. Alabama, Georgia goes to overtime. Georgia wins in overtime. Alabama finishes 11-2. Is Alabama one of the 4 best teams?
They might be, but they'll be hard pressed to take a 2-loss team.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's just kind of a public opinion, I think.
That's why, as an Alabama fan, I'm pulling for chaos for all the contenders to lose as much as they can before then, to leave open that slim door that Alabama could lose in an overtime great game and still maybe get in with 2 losses. But then
as you remember, the loss they got against A&M is a terrible loss. They just lost 3 football games this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was an off. Now
I just don't know if Alabama though lost to Auburn and then somehow a miracle happened. They beat Georgia 11-2 SEC champ. How do you keep the SEC champ out of the playoffs?
Well, first of all, that's not going to happen in that order.
I can't believe Michael said something.
I don't think they lose to Auburn. I'm concerned that they can beat Georgia. Period.
Well, Michael just said something though I can't believe. He said if Alabama could win by a miracle over Georgia. You mean you got Alabama and Georgia? You saying Alabama, if they win, it's a miracle?
I'm just saying if Alabama lost to Auburn, you would not think Alabama would be playing their best football, and then they all of a sudden would turn around the next week and beat Georgia.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
A miracle turnaround.
You're exactly right. That would make them think about it.
It'd be Georgia. I mean, Georgia's not going. Georgia will have to lose a game. I don't think anybody can beat them. To be honest with you, they got to give it away.
Yeah, exactly. Max, and of course, this is going to be a good football weekend, and but I know you got other chores that you got to make. What's going on your Turkey Day Classic meal?
Well, we had a big fish cook Friday night and planned our Turkey Day meal. We had about 10 or 12 guys down the river. We cooked a bunch of fish. They'd all been fishing that afternoon. Deer hunting already up here now. So, but we're going to do our traditional turkey and ham for sure. The sides are that's the big deal. It'll be every kind of And I'm doing a caramel pie.
Oh, me.
So, and that's just 2. There'll be 6 or 8 more.
Yeah.
Same kind of. We feed 25 people.
Now, what time of day would you do it? Would you do it in the mid-afternoon or at night? When will y'all serve that meal?
We do it 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
It's 6.
And a lot of them been out squirrel hunting all day, haven't they?
No, deer season's up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, oh yeah.
These guys, look, guys, these guys do food plots of 10 acres. I mean, they don't do a half acre. They do 15-acre food plots.
Okay.
To grow the deer.
Oh me, that is quite a deal. Of course, it is Thanksgiving, and we got a lot to look forward to, Max. And there's been some heartbreak, and coach loses his job. There's some heartbreak. Let me ask you about one guy, the Kelly guy who's coaching at Alabama that used to be at Florida State. Do you know anything about him?
From Ozark, Charles Kelly.
From Ozark, Charles Kelly. Do you know him?
Yeah, sure, I know Charles.
Somebody told me that he would be.
He's kind of got lost. His name's used to be a high profile everywhere he went. But I don't know, in the last year or so, you don't hear much about him. I don't know where he got lost in the shuffle or what. I don't hear his name mentioned anywhere as far as potential head coach though right now. But he probably could go anywhere he wants to as an assistant.
Do you
Max,
know?
what would you think about this? There's a kid that grew up in Troy, played at Charles Henderson High School. He went to Georgia Tech. He married Urban Meyer's daughter. And he's been a quarterback coach at Ohio State for 5 years. His name's Corey Dennis. He's 29 years old. You think a guy 29 years old is mature enough to be a head coach?
No.
Well, I think it depends on where he goes. I mean,
I'm just saying. I mean, he's gotten credit for being the quarterback guru coach at Ohio State. Ohio State's one of the top programs of the country. I mean, Urban Meyer's your father-in-law. He's coached for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Your dad used to be the athletic director. Your dad used to be the athletic director at Troy.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, let me just say this. What I've seen about the Jacksonville Jaguars, they ought to hire him as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Might do
Have
that.
you heard anything about?
I'm just saying that's a young coach that is going to get a head coaching job one day probably.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about the?
A guy like that, guys, depends on who he surrounds himself with. Yeah. In all fairness, too, though, the age will have something to do with that. But a lot of experienced guys don't want to go somewhere and work for a younger guy.
Yeah. I would think that the job they've already made a decision at Troy. I feel like, and I don't know it for a fact, but
who will make the decision? Brent by himself, or was he got a little committee?
I'm sure he's supposed to have a committee, and I'm sure the chancellor's going to have a say on anything that happens, and rightfully so.
Do they know when they're going to make an announcement, Mike? Have they said that?
I don't know, but wouldn't you think they would need to do it as soon as possible?
And you do it on Saturday. You do it on Saturday during the SEC championship game, and everybody and their brother watches that kicker go across 1,000 times.
Yeah.
The greatest advertisement ever of who your new coach is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll be. You think they'll do that?
I would think if they do it, it would be at the championship weekend where it makes more of a splash.
Well, I tell you what, it's exciting times, and of course, there's no question in my mind that Troy people will make the right decision and be heading out. Now, Jacksonville State, have you heard anything on them, Max?
Not a word. I think they're going to go that route where they're looking for a top assistant at some of these schools that are open. That these coaches are looking for jobs right now.
Yeah. You know, the former Arkansas and Oklahoma coach, what's the deal with him? The coach at Arkansas.
Jim Pittman? Was it Pittman?
No. Mike, he's.
What do you call it, Chad Morris? That used to be at SMU?
No. He used to be at Arkansas. He's in radio now. He's at a radio show.
Oh, Houston Nutt?
Yeah, Houston Nutt. Do you think he would be interested in these guys?
Houston's in his 60s now, guys. you don't want him. No, you don't want to have to roll somebody out there to walk them.
I agree. I mean, I'm just throwing these things out. I think
You know, Houston Nutt took a Murray State team into Troy one time and played us in the playoffs, and I think Troy beat Houston Nutt by 50 that day.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and he was at some team
Murray
in
State.
Kentucky. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, he was at Boise. Then he came to Arkansas. Did the Ole Miss.
All right, Max, we're fixing to close out, and of course, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, and I know you'll feed them well, and you'll be ready to talk as soon as possible. Of course, this is an exciting time, all of it, and of course, there's a lot of football left.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Max.
And Rice, hope you have a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back.
We'll be back tomorrow for the coaches for our pick show.
Yeah, exactly right. We're gonna have a good time. And we might have a special guest call in, and we'll find out more and more what's happening at Troy University. Have a great day, and remember, the sound of the seasons tonight at the Claudia Crosby Theater. Wonderful.